Good afternoon and welcome to our regular council meeting for April 1st, 2024. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional territories and the oral practices of the Blackfoot Nation, which include the Siksika, the Kainai, and the Piikani. We also acknowledge the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, and the Métis Nation District 4, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. We're making this acknowledgement to demonstrate our continuing efforts to work together as we strive for reconciliation through increased and collective learning. Moved by Councillor Woodruff that the agenda be adopted. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Goodenough that the minutes from the regular council meeting held March 18th, 2024 be approved. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Idris that the following items of correspondence be received as information, updates on any council conferences or workshops, and the accounts payable listing. And I don't believe there were any council conferences or workshops there. So to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Jessica that the week of April 14th to the 20th, 2024 be hereby proclaimed as the Brooks Resiliency Week in the city of Brooks. Amanda.
Through the chair to Mayor and Council, on February 12th, 2024, Mayor Petrie and Council received a letter from the chair of the Brooks and District Resiliency Day Committee regarding Brooks Resiliency Week from April 14th to April 20th, 2024. This week seeks to raise awareness around the impact that mentorship has in building resilient youth, and the Brooks and District Resiliency Committee is excited to host an annual campaign during the third week of April, with an in-person Resiliency Day celebration taking place on April 16th at 6 p.m. at the Heritage Inn and Convention Center in Brooks. This year, 39 students from the community will recognize their mentor via Facebook and radio, where individuals will be able to witness community mentors being recognized throughout Resiliency Week. The committee also invites individuals to share these stories of mentorship on social media pages and websites. The committee is very grateful to Mayor and Council for their support and willingness to promote this important initiative in the past, and invites Mayor Petrie and Council to attend the Resiliency Day celebration on April 16th, as well as participating in a photo submission to be shared on social media and in the Brooks Bulletin. Therefore, the Brooks and District Resiliency Committee respectfully request continued support by proclaiming Brooks Resiliency Week in the city of Brooks from April 14th to the 20th, 2024.
Any questions? Okay, I think they wanted us to get a picture, so maybe at our council committee meeting, and Jenny, you can kind of remind us for that for next Tuesday then, and we'll do the little signs again, and we'll do that for the next meeting there too. Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Nesbitt that the week of April 14th to the 20th, 2024 be hereby proclaimed as National Volunteer Week in the city of Brooks.
Through the chair to Mayor and Council, recently Mayor and Council received a letter from Grasslands Regional Family and Community Support Services Society, otherwise known as FCSS, regarding the proclamation of the 2024 Citizen and Junior Citizen of the Year and National Volunteer Week. Once again, FCSS is pleased to honor the Citizen and Junior Citizen of the Year on Friday, May 3rd, 2024. As FCSS's mandate is to support volunteerism, they are pleased to be able to honor the citizens of our communities through the recognition of volunteers on May 3rd and during National Volunteer Week from April 14th to April 20th. And therefore, Grasslands Regional Family and Community Support Services Society respectfully requests that the week of April 14th through the 20th, 2024 be hereby proclaimed as National Volunteer Week in the city of Brooks.
Okay, any questions? I was going to ask Councillor Woodruff there. I think, have they made public who the Citizen of the Year and the Junior Citizen of the Year is yet? No.
I don't believe so, but soon there'll be an announcement. And yeah. Okay. Check out the new website.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Prentice that April 7th, 2024 be hereby proclaimed as Green Shirt Day in the city of Brooks. Amanda again.
Through the chair to Mayor and Council, on April 6th, 2018, 29 passengers were involved in the Humboldt Broncos bus crash. And on April 7th, 2018, Logan Boulay succumbed to his injuries, but having registered as an organ donor, his organs helped 6 people who were waiting for a transplant. It is estimated that over 150,000 people registered to become organ donors in the days and weeks that followed. More than 4,000 Canadians await a life-saving organ transplant, and each year, more than 250 Canadians die annually waiting for the transplant. One donor can save 8 lives through organ donation and provide tissue for up to 75 patients. Green Shirt Day was created to honor, remember, and recognize all the victims and families of that fatal crash, and to continue Logan's legacy by wearing green, and to encourage Canadians to talk to their families and register as organ donors. The City of Brooks is encouraging staff and those in the community to wear green on April 7th and to raise awareness for the need to register as an organ or a tissue donor. Therefore, administration is recommending that April 7th, 2024 be hereby proclaimed as Green Shirt Day in the City of Brooks.
Okay, any questions? Hard to believe it was 6 years ago when that happened there, but yeah. Good initiatives from that, yeah. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Wardrop that the month of April 2024 be hereby proclaimed as World Autism Month in the City of Brooks. And we have Kevin here.
Thank you, Your Worship, to all of Council. World Autism Month is an annual campaign committed to creating a kinder, more inclusive world for people with autism, encouraging citizens to increase their understandings and acceptance of people with autism. This year, World Autism Month will be held during the month of April 2024, and through proclamation, individuals will celebrate their continued commitment to diversity and inclusion by sharing real stories of autism across all Canadian provinces and territories. World Autism Month will also shine a light on those with autism, including their strengths, dreams, and struggles, while inspiring individuals on the spectrum to create a more inclusive Canada. In recognition of World Autism Month, City Hall will be lit up blue during the month of April, and it is encouraged that all homes and businesses participate in Lighted Up Blue in recognition of people with autism and those who love and support them. Information material about World Autism Month can be accessed by the public on the city's website. Therefore, staff recommends that Council officially proclaim the month of April 2024 as World Autism Month in the City of Brooks. If there's any questions, I'd be pleased to answer them.
Moved by Councillor Idris that the week of April 14th to the 20th, 2024 be hereby proclaimed as National Public Safety Telecommunications Week in the City of Brooks. Barry.
Through the chair to Your Worship and councillors, across this nation in times of intense personal crisis and community-wide disasters, the first access point of those seeking all classes of emergency services is 911. Dispatch centers receiving these calls have emerged as the first and single point of contact for persons seeking immediate relief during these emergencies. The City of Brooks Fire Department is celebrating the week of April 14th through to the 20th, 2024 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. This week, sponsored by the Association of Public Safety Communications Officials, APCO, and celebrated annually, honors the thousands of men and women who respond to emergency calls as dispatch emergency professionals that render life-saving assistance to the citizens across Canada. The importance of recognizing and celebrating the hard work of these dedicated professionals at every level is immeasurable. We stand behind the commitment and devotion of these men and women provide to ensure the safety and security of Brooks and area citizens. 911 dispatchers are truly the unsung heroes of public safety. And information material about 911 can be accessed by the public on the city's website as well. Therefore, staff recommends that Council officially proclaim the week of April 14th through to the 20th, 2024 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the city of Brooks. And I can answer any questions if you'd like.
Any questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Goodenough that the week of May 5th to the 11th, 2024 be hereby proclaimed as National Emergency Preparedness Week in the city of Brooks. Kevin.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the Council, the City of Brooks Fire Department intends to promote National Emergency Preparedness Week, which is an annual campaign that encourages citizens to be prepared to cope with a range of emergencies and disasters, anytime, anywhere. This year's theme for Emergency Preparedness Week is Be Prepared and Know Your Risks. Preparedness is more than just being ready for the next big disaster. Make preparedness a habit that you can deal with any disruption, big or small. The campaign aims to educate people about the importance of emergency planning, where every family should be prepared to survive for 72 hours during an emergency, and the simple things that anyone can do to ensure that they are prepared. Nationally, Emergency Preparedness Week is coordinated by Public Safety Canada, and provincially it's headed by the Alberta Emergency Management Agency. This year, National Emergency Preparedness Week will be held May 5th through 11th, 2024, and through proclamation, public awareness will be amplified as to the importance of being prepared in advance of an emergency. Information material about emergency preparedness can be accessed by the public on the city's website. Therefore, staff recommends that Council officially proclaim the week of May 5th through 11th, 2024 as National Emergency Preparedness Week in the city of Brooks. If there's any questions, I'd be pleased to answer them.
Any questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Councillor Nesbitt that Council approve the following as it relates to the Brooks Bandits May-June ice request, the use of option 2 and the timeline as outlined, that the additional cost as relates to the 2024 PBR event be waived, and the cost for option 2 in the amount of $36,840 be a cost shared by the City of Brooks and the Brooks Bandits, with the city funding $27,000 from the Council Projects Reserve and the Brooks Bandits funding $9,840. Randy.
Yeah, through the chair to mayor and council. So again, I'll just go over a quick overview of this report, just touching on some of the highlights. So the following information was discussed at the council committee meeting on March 26th. The Bandits have requested ice at the CRA until June 2nd in order to accommodate their BCHL playoff games. They've also confirmed that in future seasons, the playoff schedule for the BCHL could potentially go until the end of May. Additionally, the Professional Bull Riders, or PBR, are exploring booking dates for their Coy Larson Memorial event in 2025 and beyond. So given that, if both the Brooks Bandits and the PBR future booking requests are accommodated, we need a permanent ongoing solution to facilitate both groups with the ice in. So staff have explored a number of different options for this. The best option that we have come up with is the poly plywood method, which involves laying the ice decking down on the ice with a layer of poly and then a layer of 3/4 inch plywood. Most of the arenas that we talked to and looked at that host these kinds of events use this method, and with that method it should be considered the high initial cost of the supplies, the poly and the plywood, as well as the initial cost of the storage space, the CCAN, where supplies can be kept. Attached to this memo is a timeline for the installation of the poly plywood for the PBR event, then the removal and ice maintenance to get the ice surface ready again for the Bandits playoffs. And it's important to note as well that this plywood would be able to be reused in future years for future events. Just a couple other things to consider with this is the impact on operations. So typically our summer hours at the CRA would start May 1st. However, keeping the ice in for another 3 to 4 weeks would extend the ice season, which would result in additional staffing costs of about $3,360. In order to do this, the Recreation Department would need to keep 2 of our 4 60/40 Recreation and Parks operators until June 2nd. This would leave the Parks Department short staff by about 14 weeks. If both of these booking requests were to be accommodated every year, this would be an ongoing thing that the Recreation Department would need. It's also important to consider potential impact to the cost of future PBR events. So the event price, as it was quoted for this year, was for with the ice removed from the facility at $3,802. If the PBR event were to be charged rates that are applied when an event takes place when the ice is installed, the fees go up because they pay for the ice decking installation plus the adult ice rate for the ice being in. So that means in future years, the cost could be around $10,923, which is about 3 times the amount which was originally quoted for those events. So therefore, staff is recommending the poly plywood method due to the less risk and ability to accommodate Coyle Larson Memorial PBR on an annual basis, while also keeping the ice in to accommodate the Brooks Bandits' new BCHL playoff schedule. The total cost for this option, including staffing costs, are as follows. Supplies for the poly and plywood is about $14,000. Storage unit cost is $13,000. Staff time for the installation and removal of the decking and poly plywood is $3,480. Additional utility costs for power is $3,000, and additional staff costs for extending the ice season is $3,360 for a total of $36,840. So therefore, the recommendation is that council approve the following as relates to the Brooks Bandits May-June ice request: the use of option 2 and the timeline as outlined, the additional cost as relates to the 2024 PBR event be waived, and the cost for option 2 in the amount of $36,840 be shared by the City of Brooks and the Brooks Bandits, with the city funding $27,000 for the supplies and storage from the council project reserve, and the Brooks Bandits funding the remaining $9,840 for the staff costs and utilities. Additionally, extra summer staff for the Parks Department should be considered to ensure the Recreation Department can maintain and operate the ice in the CRA later in the season.
Okay, I'll open it up for questions. Councillor Goodenough?
Thank you for a thorough job again, and I know you've had a lot of work on this and revising and stuff, so appreciate it. I'm just curious though on point number 2, the additional costs be related to the 2024 PBR event be waived. I'm just curious, why did we come to that conclusion? Or is that, why is that recommended, sir?
Yeah. So through the chair to Councillor Goodenough, so that's just so that the PBR event doesn't incur those additional costs, the $10,923 in 2024 when they've planned their event with the quoted amount of $3,802. So we want to honor the original quote with that group. So those additional costs would be waived so that they don't have any surprises for this year.
Okay. So just to follow up to that, sorry. Have they already booked then for next year or and moving forward?
Through the chair to Councillor Goodenough, no, they haven't confirmed any dates or bookings yet this time.
Okay. Councillor Jessica.
Yes, thank you again for that, Randy. Just to clarify, from the previous discussion on this, the additional staff costs that are built in here do not include the parks staff for 14 weeks. So if it was 14 weeks, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, at $20 an hour, it'd be more than $10,000 more labor costs. Would that be close, do you think?
Through the chair to Councillor Jessica, yes, I believe that's probably accurate. I did some quick math, and at the lowest rate, it was just under $11,000 for about 14 weeks of time. Yeah.
Councillor Wardrop?
So given that information that Councillor Jessica just referenced about the additional staff costs and the not just the cost, but the potential pressure that may leave our Parks Department. And from what I understand from our previous discussions, it may be difficult to get staff at that time of year for a short period of time. And so because of the staffing issue and the lack of certainty for what is supposed to be a permanent ongoing solution, because we don't know season to season how far the Bandits are going to progress into the season, although they have a pretty good track record at this point. But there is a lack of certainty there. So I'm not in favor of option 2 or an option presented at this point. I'd be curious how my fellow councillors would feel about the additional staffing costs in the recommendation 2, that the Bandits would be in charge of the funding for, if that was to reflect the actual staffing costs. So around like just short of $11,000. If that would be I think that would be a more equitable solution, and that would make sure that our staffing is indeed covered, and that taxpayers aren't subsidizing every year of additional staffing that this solution would cost.
Okay. Any response?
Do you have a response?
Councillor Idris?
Not a response.
Okay, yeah, no, go ahead.
So question, and again, some of these questions maybe we are still going to figure out. The capital investment, the items that we are going to buy and own, how easy is it to sell? And if we sell it, what would that bring back? Like, is it like you buy a car and the minute you take it out of the car dealer, it's gone?
Yeah, we don't know if the depreciation on plywood's the same as a car, though.
It might go up.
Yeah, it might go up.
And
Yeah,
I'm hoping for an answer like that.
yeah, I know, yeah. So we could make money, yeah. Go ahead, sorry, Randy.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Idris, I don't really have anything to add. I don't know what we would be able to do as far as reselling, or how much money we might be able to recoup if we needed to resell.
So my recommendation will be, I'm going to vote for the motion, but my recommendation is to actually take this year as a pilot year. Look at a couple things. How much are we adding in terms of revenue for the ice hours? Because we are going to have the ice if other people are going to use it. What's the accurate expense that we are going to incur for the staffing that's going to happen because of the change, and then bring that information to council in a year time. And if we believe that it's not worth it, especially if we are not going to get the rodeo people coming back to do this, and because it's like a $10,000 expense for them now, we may actually reverse this and go back to normal ice hours after that.
Okay.
Ice time.
Yeah, I think that's fair there. Councillor Goodenough.
I'd support that motion, that recommendation too. I would though recommend that we take out the second part of the recommendation of the 2024 PBR event waive for next year. This is a for-profit business, although it is going to a charity organization in our city, but they are there to make financial money. And so I don't see why we would waive the same rates. Rates change every year, and to give them a guarantee for another year, I don't think that's reasonable at the 3,000 plus. So.
Yeah, Alan, go ahead. Yeah, I think I know. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Through the chair to Councillor Goodenough, the way I read this is the only rate that would be guaranteed is the one they gave them for 2024.
This year.
Yeah.
Not moving forward.
Yeah.
That's my
Okay, thank you for the correction. I
for this
received
year.
that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, any other comments or, go ahead, Councillor Woodrow.
I would support Councillor Idris's recommendation and that alteration of the, like trying this as a pilot and then going forward, as long as going forward, those additional staffing costs would not be covered by the city. So those 14 weeks of Parks Department staffing and any of those additional costs would not be covered by the city. And that would in fact be the bandits. And that would change, and that would look different from season to season based on, based on what the end of the season looked like. That would be it would be different, right, every year.
But that's for next year. Councillor Goodenough.
I couldn't support that part of the motion. Parks and Rec, that's our responsibility. The bandits are a tenant holder. To expect them to pay the 14 weeks or possibly, I think that's a city responsibility to look after our budgeting costs and to weigh those costs out in Parks and Rec.
Okay. Councillor Wardrop.
But we would not be 14 weeks short-staffed if it wasn't for accommodating that schedule with the uncertainty of not knowing if we can make that revenue back.
I understand what the point. I would say on the business model for our main tenant has changed. The business plan of where their normal rental season has changed. Therefore, we have to adopt or evolve as the season has changed for them too, and sent their whole organization into a different mode of thinking. So we as a city, we have to bring that into consideration. Is it inconvenient? Yep. But we have to work within that for our biggest stakeholder.
Okay, Councillor Idris.
I think the main factor is not going to be the cost of the parks staff. I think the main factors will be the cost of the staff that are going to be running the ice, and if the revenue that's going to come from that will be enough to justify the use. The idea of the rec staff, my understanding is that they used to go from your department to parks for the summer, and now parks will have to have their own staff for that period. That's my understanding. And if that's the case, then the main factors that will impact the decision is that, how much time we are selling on the ice, power, these kind of things, and if that is really making the decision good, then.
Yeah, and we won't know for a year.
Yeah.
Until we go through this. Yeah. Okay. Any other comments or questions? I thought it's a good compromise. I thought you did a good job in getting a good compromise. And as we have noted before in the past, the bandits have brought a lot of positive attention, to the city of Brooks there. And at the other end with the bandits, they're contributing close to $10,000 to this too, which is nice. They've come to the table, for that too. And as I think Councillor Goodenough had said too, there's an economic benefit when other teams come into the community there, and when they're hosting events and things like that there too. So I'm going to take it to the question here. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, carried. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, moved by Councillor Wardrop that the council approve the funding of STARS in the amount of $1 per capita, or $14,924 for 2024, to be funded from the operating contingency reserve, and the $1 per capita be added to the base budget for 2025. Shelley.
Thank you. Through the chair to Mayor and Council. So representatives from Shock Trauma Air Rescue Services, otherwise known as STARS, attended the March 18th, 2024 council meeting, sharing a presentation featuring their achievements, ongoing initiatives, and information on the program's funding and partnerships. The presentation highlighted that there have been 122 critical interfacility transfers from the Brooks Hospital and 9 on-scene traumas within Brooks from 2019 to 2025. In addition to that, in 2023 alone, there were 14 Brooks and area residents who were transported by STARS in other areas of the province. The financial contribution that was requested during this presentation was for $1 per capita, which for the city of Brooks, that would equate to $14,924. for 2024 and 2025. Their request was in conjunction with the current council term. It is STAR's mission to continue providing their critical services with no cost to the patient. Currently, the province of Alberta contributes $15 million to STARS, which equates to 50% of their operating budget, and more than $2 million is received from annual municipal support, with over 90% of Alberta's municipalities in partnership with them. The remainder of their operating budget, the replacement of their fleet, and other special projects and initiatives are funded from fundraising revenues. In 2023, their net fundraising revenues were $27.8 million. It's just a recap of what they presented, but the recommendation is that council approve of funding STARS in the amount of $1 per capita for 2024 to be funded from the operating contingency reserve, and that $1 per capita be added to the base budget in 2025.
Okay, any questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Prentice that council award the purchase of the Freightliner 114SD with the Vactor 21i vacuum flusher unit to Joe Johnson Equipment in the amount of $745,413 and be funded by the General Sanitary Sewer Reserve. Don.
Thank you. Through the chair to mayor and council. The utilities department's vacuum flusher truck, in other words, a vac truck, is in the city's 10-year capital plan and is budgeted for replacement this year. The city utilized Canoe Sourcewell as the procurement entity to obtain competitive pricing and to ensure the Canadian Free Trade Agreement's framework and numerous specifications for the vac truck main categories are met. Some of the main categories are the truck, the debris body, water system, the hydro excavation package, the vacuum system, the boom system, the hose reel, electrical and safety systems, and miscellaneous items. Additional criteria such as supplier reputation, service and parts availability, the unit's references, the unit's history regarding reliability, and operating and capital costs are also considered. Therefore, 3 vac trucks met the specifications. The prices for the 3 vac trucks are a Mack Granite truck with a Vactor 2100 vac flusher unit in the amount of $824,634, a Western Star 47X with the Vactor 2100 flusher unit in the amount of $795,641, and a Freightliner 114SD with a Vactor 2100 in the amount of $745,413. So please note that the Freightliner with the Vactor 2100 vac flusher unit is very similar to the city's current vac truck that has worked well for the past 5 to 6 years. The budget in the 10-year capital plan for 2024 is $750,000 funded by the General Sanitary Sewer Reserve. The recommendation is that council award the purchase of the Freightliner 114SD truck with the Vactor 2100 vacuum flusher unit to Joe Johnson Equipment in the amount of $745,413 and funded by the General Sanitary Sewer Reserve.
Okay, any questions? Go ahead, Bill. Sorry, or Councillor Prentice.
Yeah, to Don, with the price of that $745, are you trading in the old truck with that, or how are you disposing of it, or what's the value of that roughly?
This truck is without a trade-in value, but they did offer us $250,000 for ours. But we don't have to take it. We can figure out other ways of disposing it later, or we can take that offer.
I see. Okay.
And that offer is good to the time we get the new truck.
Okay, thanks.
How long do these trucks last?
We found that when they hit about 5 years old, they start to cause problems. And then when they start, they really start fast. And the cost to repair and keep these trucks up is really costly.
That's a short lifespan.
It is, there's a lot of moving parts on
No,
those
I know,
trucks.
yeah. Any other questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Councillor Idris that bylaw number 2412 being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to amend bylaw number 1412 being the land use bylaw be introduced and read a first time. And this one we just go to the motion, right? Or is Gavin there?
No, Natasha's gonna.
Oh, Natasha, there you are. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Natasha.
Thank you. Through the chair to mayor and council. Bylaw 2412 proposes to redesignate land at 1504 through to 1514 2nd Avenue East from residential single detached to residential high density. As per the requirements of the Municipal Government Act, a public hearing must be held prior to council's decision on a bylaw to rezone land. The undeveloped property was subdivided in 2007 and was included in the Southeast Sector Area Structure Plan as a multifamily development area. There is adjacent single detached residences to the north of this location across the alley. The area is serviced with water and sewer on the south side of the lot in the street. The proposed rezoning complies with the following residential development objectives of the Southeast Sector Area Structure Plan Bylaw 0307 policies, stating that higher density multiple family developments will be encouraged in the following areas: at the intersection of Meadowbrook Drive and 2nd Avenue East, along 17th Street East north of 4th Ave, and along 2nd Avenue East. Also, that the design guidelines may be applied to all multifamily dwellings and single detached duplex and semi-detached dwellings. Multifamily housing will ensure the following: external design, character, and appearance of the building, which must ensure architectural integrity of the site and surrounding dwellings. Comprehensive site plan will be encouraged. Site design will ensure proper egress to major roadways. Buffering or screening may be required. Development adjacent to 2nd Avenue East and other major collectors will reflect appropriate design, and each dwelling unit should be designed with consideration of privacy. So the next step in the adoption process is a public hearing will be advertised and held in compliance with the MGA and the City of Brooks Land Use Bylaw. And recommendation is that council complete first reading on bylaw 2412 and set May 6th for the public hearing.
Okay, I think at this time I can ask for a clarification, but otherwise we'll just go to the vote here, so. Okay, to the vote. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, moved by Councillor Jessica that a public hearing be held on May 6, 2024 at 5 p.m. to gather public input regarding bylaw number 2412. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Goodenough that council close the meeting to the, well, is Sandra? No, nobody's on the line. Okay. Moved by Councillor Goodenough that council close the meeting to the public for agenda item 9A, performance plan as per section 20, FOIP at 5:10 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you, everybody.